First of all, I'm so glad you played it because there's so many takeaways there. But he puts them on the spot. And, they had this little smirk, Welker and Holt, and they said, let's leave our time for the candidates. They didn't know how to answer it because deep down they know that he hit their vulnerable spot, that he hit a weakness in the regime media, is that they masquerade as impartial moderators when in reality they're activists. They're activists on Meet the Press. They're activists on NBC Nightly News. And honestly, I think it was a huge mistake and a largely unforgivable one for the RNC to partner with the NBC News in this way. But, I believe Governor Ron DeSantis is America's greatest governor. We've talked about that before, Megyn. What a missed opportunity for Ron DeSantis not to do this in his opening statement. First question was to Ron DeSantis, and I'll be honest, he gave a canned political answer that made me roll my eyes. Gas prices are too high and people aren't. I said, forget it. Where's the kind of alpha male? Stop it. Where's the kind of Fauci is awful and he used to fight with reporters? Ron DeSantis should have been like, are you ashamed of yourself, Lester Holt? Like, you hate us. Amazing. Why are you here? Right? Why are you here? You've attacked, that's the alpha Ron DeSantis we want. Instead it's, people are real and I feel your pain. It was like this fake Bill Clinton thing. And Vivek Ramaswamy, to his credit, read the room and he took the low-hanging fruit. Here you have two debate moderators that are despised by the Republican debates, right? God bless Hugh Hewitt. I really like him. I've known him for years. He didn't get enough airtime in my opinion. Lester Holt and Welker, they are not, they're not fair. They're not impartial. They are activists. They are spokespeople for the American Democrat Party. It might as well be a Democrat super PAC that calls itself a media network. And Vivek capitalized on it. In addition, the stones that it takes, Megyn, if I could speak bluntly, to say that the chair of the RNC should resign at an RNC-sponsored debate, woo, that's some cojones right there.
Well, right. And she has been the scourge of a lot of Republican commentary because the Republicans keep losing. And so it's like, look, it's not just Ronna McDaniel. Trump he gets blamed. Ronna gets blamed. Anybody in the position of power and influence over these elections is going to get blamed because they keep losing. So everyone's got to take some responsibility. She had a one-liner yesterday, I think, with Stu Varney. He's at 4% in the polls. He needs to say something to get attention, kind of dismissive of Vivek. And look, you can't blame everything on Ronna McDaniel. I don't think the RNC has been doing a great job, obviously. There's a lot of blame to go around, but I loved the fact that he called out NBC. I felt the same. I know why the RNC did it. NBC's a big platform, very big platform, and they want eyeballs on the debate. And look, we're doing this partnership with News Nation for the next debate. News Nation doesn't really have many viewers at all. It's a fledgling new news network that's just trying to get attention. So they're not going to get the hit for going with News Nation and yours truly and Eliana of Free Beacon, like you went with a bunch of leftists. But will the numbers be as big? Will the platform be as big? I doubt it, right? It's not NBC News, which is right there on your cable dial as soon as you turn on your television. But at what cost? At what cost do you partner with them, right? Because it's like, what you're going to get, even when they try to be neutral. And last night or 2 nights ago, they did try to not sound like the Democrats we know they are. Lester says is Republican. Okay, show me the evidence. Even when they try to be, they don't choose the right ins and outs on the questions. They don't come at the issues the way Republicans want them to come at. There were a bunch of issues that are important to Republicans that once again were left on the editing room floor. So you can see the fact that these are not people who are interested in what is motivating the Republican base.
No, first of all, I'm thrilled you're doing the next debate, Megyn. That's a step in the right direction because honestly, you're going to ask the tough questions very firmly and fairly. More, that Univision person that was there a couple debates ago was just obviously had an agenda, and you're going to hold them accountable. And also, you have a really big audience of people of all different political backgrounds. And finally, Megyn, I think, and I don't know what you're going to ask, but I would imagine you're going to get some answers on this trans thing, which I think is a civilizational defining issue, right? That has not received any attention.
By NBC,
right?
Not a question.
Because they know it's a loser, right? So NBC, they'll talk about abortion, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Hold on. What about 13 years for chemical castration? So I'm thrilled that you're involved. I think that's a huge win. I mean that.
Thank you.
And I'll say this, though, just to push back on this distribution thing. I will say this. If the RNC thought a little bit more creatively, what if they would have done an open live stream with 4 Daily Wire hosts I think that they would have had competing viewership of NBC News. I really believe that, Megyn. If they would have had Candace Owens and Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro or whatever, right? I mean, you could name these people across the board. Dan Bongino, who's not part of Daily Wire. Yeah, or Turning Point, right? We offered ourselves up to it. I would say that the old muscle memory of the RNC says you have to go with NBC. And that's still largely the truth, right? They're on YouTube TV, direct TV. You don't have to think about it. You turn it on. But, you know, the whole complaint that I hear is, oh, we're losing younger voters. And, you know, obviously I've dedicated my life to it and I have some insight into it. Well, why don't you have a different type of a debate then? Not just the Lester Holt and Welker hour. I think Vivek was getting onto something, which is Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, somebody off the wall, you know, a David Sachs type person that is very analytical, very fair, obviously anti-woke, asks the right questions. Have the All In podcast ask some of these questions. And the RNC, it doesn't need to be this elaborately produced thing. In podcast culture, you know this, Megyn, the content actually supersedes the aesthetic in some way. You don't need the $5 million stage. I mean, all that's fine, I guess. But what I'm getting at is that if the RNC was really operating in a way of reaching the most people and reaching primary voters, we have to remember that this is first about an audience of primary voters. And I've spent a lot of time amongst Republican primary voters. NBC News is not exactly a fan favorite. I mean, it's kind of like it's a contaminated network at this place where people don't even want to go to that channel. And so I hear the distribution thing. The only argument that I'll give the RNC, to all fairness, is that this is an opportunity to be on a network to potentially persuade independent voters to vote Republican. I'm not convinced Republicans bickering with one another about high heels and daughters' TikTok usage is a good look for independent moderate voters. That's going to happen in a primary debate.
That's the candidate's fault.
Yes.
You know, like you didn't have to go lowbrow, right? Like they could have kept the fights more elevated, and they should. I have to say, like, look, Nikki Haley, she drew blood off of Vivek too in the earlier debate, saying, I get dumber every time I listen to you. That was personal. It was nasty. He came back this time around with, you know, Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels. People are saying it was sexist. I didn't care. I wasn't feeling like this was a sexist attack. Like, well, she does wear heels. Like, okay, I don't know, whatever. He's pointing out she's like Dick Cheney, only a woman. That's what he's trying to say. In any event, that's up to them. If they want to go lowbrow and sound like petty little, you know, school children, then that's not on the moderator or Ronna McDaniel. Only they control. And I would say, as somebody who's not a political advisor but has been doing this a long time, if I were up there, I would try to make every answer about Joe Biden. I would try to make every answer about Joe Biden.
Exactly.
You know, if I had a point of disagreement with my fellow Republican up there, I'd say, look, you know, kind of like Vivek says, like, I feel very differently about Ukraine than these people do, and this is why. Fine. That's fair, and he should do that. But for the most part, I'd be like, let me tell you about Joe Biden. How are they not freaking out on Joe Biden and the border? How is that like, how are they not blaming him for all the money that we've given to Iran? They'll say all this in a one-on-one interview, but they get up there and they just shrink into the smallest versions of themselves. After a crazy day of politics as usual, we all deserve an uplifting dose of plush perfection. And when I say plush perfection, I'm talking about the seriously soft, incredibly comfy cuddle blanket from Cozy Earth. Here's why you're going to be addicted to this thing and you're going to want to buy it for everybody come the holidays. The cuddle blanket is a faux fur, ultra plush pile blanket that literally wraps you in a soft, warm cocoon of pure luxury. You just wrap it around you and the stress of the day melts away. The cuddle blanket is generously sized so you can easily share that warmth with somebody else. And speaking of sharing, it is perfect, as I said, for gifting. The cuddle blanket is double-sided, perfectly weighted, like a warm, comforting hug. Even draped over your sofa or armchair, its neutral color and faux fur texture adds a touch of warmth to any space. Elevate your cozy moments with the cuddle blanket. Hurry, save 40% off the cuddle blanket right now. This offer will not last, so go to CozyEarth.com and enter my promo code Megyn for 40% off now. That's CozyEarth.com, promo code MEGYN. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.